Chelsea players are in for a shock. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video, and today I want to talk about how Chelsea could line up under Enzo Maresca. So I put out an initial video on him, so if you haven't seen it yet, check it out at that link above. But today I really want to go through the starting 11, how I think the players and their strengths could work in this new system under Maresca. So first off, let's take a look at the goalkeeper position. Now, the point of the goalkeeper in Maresca's system is to have distribution. He really wants to utilize that player to stretch the pitch even more. We saw last season that Robert Sanchez started off as the starting goalkeeper for Chelsea. Then Petrovic came in once he got injured and took over as the starting keeper for the second half of the season. And of course, Chelsea still have keeper Arrizabalaga, who is out on loan at Real Madrid this season. Not quite sure what they're going to do with him either. As for the goalkeeper option, I'm honestly not sure which one he goes for. There's been some reports that Maresca has told Robert Sanchez that he's in his plans for the upcoming season and that he thinks that his distribution could be a plus. Is it enough for Chelsea? I don't know. Robert Sanchez has been pretty mistake prone in the times that I've seen him. You just feel like you want a little bit more from your keeper. So this could be a position that Chelsea go out and try to look for a new keeper. I'm really not sure. Let me know what you think, who you feel would best suit Maresca's system. But this one is a bit of a question mark for me, and I think it'll be interesting to see if Chelsea do go for a goalkeeper in the transfer window, because it has been a really big hole in our team for a couple of years now. Next up, let's look at the defense. So last season for Leicester, Maresca lined up with a back four, and then the right back Pereira inverted into the midfield to create a solid midfield two and have a more sturdy structure in the center of the pitch. And then the left back was either used as a third center back, in this case it was Faze, or went forward a bit and helped with the attack. So I think that this could be really interesting, and I do think that even though Malo Gusto has been incredible in Reece James's absence through injury this season, when Reece James is fit, you do start him. So I do think that Reece James will play in that right back spot, and it'll be interesting because Reece James also has experience playing in midfield, and so I think that he could easily fill that midfield spot. The only thing for me is that Reece James is so incredibly good going forward. We know that he just has this ability to pick out the perfect ball, the perfect cross. He also has a good shooting boot on him, so I do think you lose a bit of that if you have Reece playing further back. But it could also be interesting to see if it shores up Chelsea's midfield. Sometimes it felt that we were sliced through a bit too easily last season. And the other point is, maybe if Reece James isn't bombing back and forward as much as he had been, because the previous systems were pretty reliant on that, maybe he won't be as injury prone as he has been, because he has missed way too many games through injury. So I think that could also be a positive for Chelsea and for Reece James. And then you get interesting because there are so many options for these two center back spots. For the right center back, you have Chalobah, you have Fofana as well. Disasi can also play there. Alfie Gilchrist can also play there. And then for the left center back, you have Badiashile, you have Colwill as well. So there really are so many center backs competing for just a few spots. At the time of recording this video, it does seem like Chelsea are trying to sell Chalobah. So for that reason, I do think that maybe we're going to see Fofana in that right center back spot if he's fit enough and can stay fit. I think he's a brilliant defender from the little bit that we've seen, because he's been out injured for so long of his Chelsea career already. But I think that he could be really, really key to that defense, especially with the departure of Thiago Silva. And in that left center back spot, I think Levi Colwill could make it his own. I still have question marks, but I think deep down there is a really talented player good there, but you have your picking of the lot. Honestly, there's so many options for Chelsea to go with here, so it'll be interesting to see exactly who the pairing is. I think whoever the pairing is, I do hope that it's consistent, because those center backs really shouldn't be chopped and changed so much, and I think that's an issue that we've had in the past, and that causes confusion among the defensive line. So I do hope to see at least that consistency and cohesiveness. And then taking a look at the left back spot, it's really interesting because you guys know the channel. I'm like one of the biggest Ben Chilwell fans, supporters. I just think he's an amazing player, maybe more than most people do. I don't know why, I just have this feeling with him. I really rate him. But this system really could work well for Cucurella, so I think it'll be interesting to see who plays, because Ben Chilwell, at least at this point, is your vice captain for Chelsea, but Cucurella had a really great end of the season, especially playing inverted as well. So I don't know who you necessarily go with, and I think maybe he might go for Cucurella, and Chilwell could be a bit on the chopping block there, but obviously it's important to have that squad depth in your team, and I think both could play a role. So I think it's going to be interesting to see, because again, it would be a new set of responsibilities for that left back. And I think the interesting thing, at least with Ben Chilwell, is that he's very versatile. He had joined us having played left back, then turned into more of a left wing back. We saw that it took him some time to adjust, and then he became incredible in that position. So I do think that he's very teachable, very trainable as well. So it'll be interesting to see which one he goes with. But again, there's just so much room, because Chelsea do have pretty decent squad depth. Now taking a look at the midfield, last year Leicester played a single pivot with Harry Winks at the base, with the idea of just making short, small passes and really creating space in that midfield. And you might think that it's risky, but then again, you do have that defender coming in to fill the space to make it a lot more robust. And I think that this could easily be played by Caicedo. You also have Romeo Lavia, who's finally joining back with Chelsea after his injury. But I think for the price tag, you're probably going to be playing Caicedo over Lavia. Again, I've mentioned it a million times, but I'll mention it again. The squad depth of this team is really crazy. We're going to need that depth as well. You can also have Enzo Fernandez play there. I'll talk about him a little bit later in the video, but I do think that Caicedo could fill in that role. And then you're looking at two more attacking minded players, 2 8s, and this is where it gets interesting. I think Enzo Fernandez can play further up the pitch, and hopefully we can get the best out of his vision when he's playing a little bit higher up, and see the best of Enzo Fernandez, because I don't think that we've necessarily seen him at his best for Chelsea so far. And it almost felt better when Enzo and Caicedo weren't playing next to each other last season. So I'm hoping that this would allow us to get the best out of both of these players. And then in that other 8 position, you have a lot of options, but you have Conor Gallagher, maybe Chukwuemeka as well could be playing there. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that I could be missing that would play in that 8. I think that should be it. And it's looking like Conor Gallagher, unfortunately at the time of recording this video, could be sold by Chelsea, and I'll have a separate video on that coming out, so make sure to keep your eyes out for that. And I think that's a shame, because Conor Gallagher could be brilliant in this season. I think that his ability to press the ball and just how high energy he is could really work well in this system. But if he's sold, then I think that that spot could go to Chukwuemeka, so that will be interesting to see as well. And then finally, we'll move over to the forward spot, so 3 forward positions. Again, there's so much depth in these forward spots. There's a lot that you can do with it. So I'm personally looking forward to seeing how Maresca sorts through all of this. On the right hand side, you really have to play Cole Palmer. I don't see a world in which you don't play Cole Palmer, but we also have Madueke, who's been really good for us. I really like him. He's still a bit of a raw player, but I think he has so much potential, and his ability to dribble and just unlock defenses is something that I really admire, and I think that could go really well in this system. So I think that's going to be something that's interesting. And obviously Cole Palmer is such a versatile player as well. He can really play across the front three, but I don't think that you're necessarily going to be moving Cole Palmer around as much just to fit Madueke into the team, but definitely a really good option for Chelsea to have if we have a lot of games, if we have like cup competitions, if we're bringing him off of the bench. But I do think that that starting right wing position does go to Cole Palmer. And on the left side, you have a lot of things that you could do here, because you have Raheem Sterling, you have Mykhailo Mudryk, you have Nico Jackson, who can also play off of the left as well. Let me know if I'm forgetting somebody. There could be somebody that I'm missing out on. Those are the three that pop into my mind. And to be honest, I haven't been super impressed with Raheem Sterling in the time that he's been at Chelsea. Then I always say that and he goes on to score like a brilliant goal or has a really good game. But I just think for the seniority that he has and the wages that he's on, I would expect more from him. And then you have Mykhailo Mudryk, who showed sparks of being a great player, but he often relied on his pace a lot, and you're not going to get away with that necessarily in the Premier League. But I do think that there's a really talented raw player in there, and with some coaching he could be brilliant for us as well. So do you go with a Sterling? Do you go with a Mudryk? Do you go with a Nico Jackson and play Nkunku through the middle? Or you can even play Nkunku there and play Nico Jackson through the middle. So it really is interesting. I think for me personally, I really like the look of a Jackson and Nkunku Palmer situation. And Nkunku you've brought in for a ton of money. He was out injured for the majority of last season, so you want to see him playing. And we have seen in the games that he's played that he's a natural goal scorer. So in this Maresca system, he does want that striker to hug close to the two center backs. He doesn't want him to go back as much. He really wants him to stay in that position. So I think that Nkunku and Jackson perfectly could be coached into that, but you do really want Nkunku on the pitch. I think you find a place for him. So you really have Cole Palmer, in my opinion, nailed on, and Nkunku should be nailed on, and then you have a spot for a third attacker. So what do you do? It would be super interesting to see if maybe any of those extra attackers that we have maybe fill in that 8th spot if Conor Gallagher leaves and if Chukwuemeka doesn't take it. So there really are so many options, but I think that's more or less an idea of how Chelsea would line up under Enzo Maresca. What do you make of this team? Do you think that I've got it right, wrong? Let me know down in the comments how you think Chelsea would line up under Maresca. And yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy my content, make sure to drop it a like, comment. Let's see if we can get maybe to like 50 to 75 likes in this video. And yeah, anything that you do, sub to the channel. I have so many ideas. I'm gonna try to get out like a video a day. Let's see if I can keep that up, but I literally have so many ideas, a backlog of ideas to put out for you guys. And yeah, just let me know what you want to see as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, evening, whatever time you're watching this. Bye!